This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yes, it's about Cabinet Minister Lord Frost, who has sensationally quit. He has resigned from Boris Johnson's government. Panic in number 10 as the PM's key ally quits, saying he's disillusioned. He's not upset, he's just disillusioned. What's he disillusioned with? Well, everything that he is not responsible for. He's disillusioned with the government's COVID Plan B restrictions. He's disillusioned with vaccine passports. He's disillusioned with tax hikes, and he's disillusioned with the cost of net zero green agenda. So, not disillusioned at his inability to extricate any concessions from the European Union, despite the fact that they need us more than we need them. No, apparently not. Got nothing to do with it. Everything was going tickety-boo over there. He's displeased about masks and, saving the planet. Costs too much, apparently. So the big news that we will get over in about 10 seconds after we hear it is that Cabinet Minister Lord Frost has sensationally resigned. Not Cabinet Minister Lord David George Hamilton Frost, Baron Frost, CMG, PC. Puh! What will we do without you? What with all your, the qualities that you brought to the role, like, I've got nothing. We'll miss your baggy face. There you go. We'll miss your baggy eyes and your baggy suits. Mostly, we'll miss the bagginess. Bye-bye. Bye-bye bagginess. Bye-bye. We'll also miss your enormous gut that precedes you into a room about 10 seconds before the rest of you arrives. Makes it look like you've eaten a space hopper. Cantilevered over your belt like something Zaha Hadid would have designed. How do those shirt buttons handle the strain? He was the bloke that said leaving the single market in the customs union would cost £1,500 per person. Yeah, this is before he had a change of heart. Actually, it's before he had a change of job. £1,500 per person to leave the single market, he said. We'd have to be out of our minds to leave the single market, he said. In 2016, as chief executive of the Scotch Whisky Association,
Booze.
He said the UK would be mad to leave the benefits of the single market. That's Lord Frost said that, as chief executive of the Scotch Whisky Association. And I don't believe he was full of it when he said it. Mad to leave the benefits of the single market, he said. Mad as in... we'll mostly miss the way he never changed his mind, depending on the way the wind was blowing. Stuck to his guns, and we will miss his expertise in dealing with the European Union, what with all the concessions that he wrought from them, like, I've got nothing either. Nothing there either. We have soured relations with our most important trading partner. We got nothing from them in the way of concessions, but we are all poorer, so at least he got that right. And we should thank him for helping us get out of the clutches of unelected bureaucrats, something, of course, that he knows all about, being, as he is, an unelected bureaucrat. We appreciate your service, Lord David George Hamilton Frost, Baron Frost, CMG, PC.
Thank you.
What's the PC stand for, by the way? We're not missing you already, if that helps. We might care whether he stays or goes. The preference must be for him to go. He hasn't been what you'd call a roaring success. But his bodginess will be as mad as his hair. The rats are leaving the sinking ship, Bodge. And the usual suspects are on manoeuvres, desperate to cling on to power at all costs. They're ready to defenestrate poor Bodger as soon as they can find a window big enough to squeeze him through. Conservative MPs are increasingly talking about challenging the Prime Minister's leadership within the next 6 months, assuming we all live that long. Oh my cron, we're all going to die. Assuming we all live that long, they're thinking about challenging their PM within the next 6 months. Tentatively putting their toe in the water, they are. Very, very bravely not doing anything right now. They're increasingly talking about, our Conservative MPs, a challenge to the PM's leadership with Chancellor Rishi Sunak and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss leading the field of contenders. Oh, please. That's the Kashmir billionaire smoothie with a selfie habit, and the woman who boasted that Brexit now allows us to export British apples to India. Yet one small point, Liz, Belgium exports 10 million kilograms of apples to India every year. Still, let's not get bogged down in facts, eh? She also comically claimed that the UK signed the most advanced trade deal that Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein has ever signed. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, no offence, but Liechtenstein, Iceland, Norway, really? And then she said that about it being the most comprehensive deal that they've ever agreed. And you will be surprised to learn that that's actually not true. Yeah, I know, a government minister not telling the truth. Who would have imagined it? It is, of course, not as comprehensive a deal as the one that the European already has with those countries, which, of course, we also had when we were part of the European Union.
Oh, fabulous.
Honestly, if the Tories are going to select our next leader from those two, you'd have to think they're engaged in some sort of giant stunt. Keep your eyes peeled for Ant and Dec or Harry Hill. Jeremy Beadle's not available, so we know it's not him. Is this You've Been Framed, or am I hallucinating? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @lbc. London is alive today with the sound of shouting and car horns and fireworks being let off in Trafalgar Square. There was some football thing. What was the football thing?
I missed that.
Missed it. Latest with the news. Some texts and emails and such that came in yesterday, didn't get around to. Glyn texts regarding our government. Just think how stupid and ill-informed the average MP is. Then consider that 50% of MPs must be more stupid and ill-informed than that. But don't panic. Thankfully, there is hope. The Peters principle says people are promoted to their level of incompetence. The world is safe. Is that the Peters principle? I thought that was somebody else's principle. It doesn't really matter. It could be Jeff's principle. It's the principle what's of concern. People are elevated to their position of incompetence. I mean, not everybody, of course. Some people do fantastically well in the job that they ascend to. But if you think about it, it's fairly obvious. You do well at one job, and then you get promoted to a more difficult one. And you do well at that job, and you get promoted to an even more difficult one. And you don't do that job very well, and that's where you stay, doing a not very good job. The human race is doomed. Gordon texts, are you not depressed about Omicron? I thought in June we'd reached the equivalent of that bit in IKEA where the plants are. It's not the end, but it's near the end. We seem to have gone back to the beginning again. Yeah, it's like we slid down one of them snakes. How do they keep those plants alive, by the way? You know, inside. With no light. I mean, there ain't no light in there. There ain't no windows in IKEA. It's like a casino. You never know what time it is. You go in at, 11 o'clock in the morning, and you think, I'll just nip in here for a half an hour. 6 hours later, you're still looking for a way to get out. Ah, meatballs. Sue says, what does it say about the standards of our top civil servants when this chap has only just realised that he might not be the most appropriate person to run the investigation? That's Simon Case. You know, the fellow that was having a party and was then tasked with investigating people that were having a party. Big mistake. Huge. Yeah, what is it? What does it say about the standards of our top civil servants? Not a lot. What does it say about the standards of our top parliamentarian?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Even less. On which subject, Stu texts, Nick, no way will Boris resign. He is a lead-lined, copper-bottomed, ocean-going narcissist and wants to be PM when Prince Charles becomes head of state, just so he cements his place in history. I'm surprised that Boris Johnson hasn't written a book about his premiership. He could just call it, I don't know, what would he call it? Fantastic. The Bodger Johnson story. Jim says, to complete Boris's answer, we are getting on with the job investing in the NHS, add, in order to make it more attractive to investors when we sell it. Well, I think at the moment the NHS is something of a fixer-upper. Wasn't always that way, of course. I mean, it's always had its problems. But, after 10 years of safe in their hands...
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
And while all that was going on, of course, the Chancellor, Fishy Sunak, was pictured in his cashmere jogging suit, coming back from his holiday in California. I mean, his very important business trip to a place that has year-round sun and in which he, completely coincidentally, happens to have a palatial home. The California Chancellor was pictured arriving back in the UK for talks with furious hospitality bosses struggling with plummeting demand due to the Omicron we're all going to die strain. Fishy Sunak had been in the US on what he protested was a long-planned government trip to have an extended holiday over Christmas in the sun. A long-planned government trip to meet tech bosses. Apparently there are tech bosses who can't operate Zoom. So he had to go there and speak to them personally. Because that's as believable as anything else that's happened this year. I know. Can I go to where one of my homes are in a hot place and talk to people about, I don't know, I'll just make it up on the plane. Fishy's timing in jetting off on a luxury break stroke working trip irked some people, with one top British executive telling the Financial Times that Fishy was too busy drinking organic kale smoothies. Drinking smoothies and putting flattering pictures of himself in a wide variety of luxury super soft hoodies and cuddling animals on the internet seems to be Fishy's thing. I mean, that's him up and down, ain't it? Truly, he is the Chancellor of our hearts. Seriously, Fishy, what have we done to deserve someone as lovely as you? So instead of talking to California tech bosses on Zoom, which you'd think they'd be able to handle, he talked to British hospitality leaders instead, via Zoom, which they probably couldn't. OK, here's a tip to everybody that's on Zoom. You've probably heard this before, but nobody ever pays attention to it. They pay more attention to, is the bookshelf behind me in shot? Back off the camera. A couple of feet would be nice. If we can see how your eyebrows are straying over your face, you're too close. So he was talking to British hospitality leaders via Zoom, as opposed to California tech leaders via Zoom. California tech leaders, he had to go there and talk to in person, 6,000 miles away. Did he go first class? And were we paying for it? Probably.
Yes.
And
affirmative.
In that order. So he had to miss one round-table event with British hospitality leaders via Zoom because, and I ain't making this up, apparently, don't be alarmed, the event with British hospitality leaders via Zoom clashed with a scheduled call with US healthcare bosses.
Oh, no.
That's right, but it's OK because the government has told us that the NHS is safe in their hands. Bosses are demanding that the government bring forward fresh financial support after the spread of the variant, the Omicron, we're all going to die variant. And the latest COVID advice to be cautious ahead of Christmas prompted a wave of booking cancellations. Don't be alarmed, be cautious. Keep your eyes peeled for the virus and make sure you swerve out of its way. It's just making sense. Be cautious. And that advice to be cautious, of course, made everybody be extremely cautious, and now they're not coming out. A wave of cancellations broke over the hospitality industry, and now they ain't got no money no more. And it's in the run-up to Christmas that they make much of the cash that would support them throughout the rest of the year. It's like Black Friday. Or is it Black Monday? It's one of those days. They call it black, not because it's racist. They call it black because the accounts go into the black, having been in the red for the rest of the year. Everybody makes all of their money in the run-up to Christmas. And they just pull the rug out from underneath them. Next time I say that, I'm going to say Matt. Except if I say that, my mind immediately went to Hans Hancock, so I'll just stick with rug. Fishy insisted that ministers were not telling people to cancel their Christmas events. He said, the situation is very different to what we've done and encountered before. We're not telling you to cancel things. We're not closing down businesses. Really? So I looked at the advice on the government's own website. It says, wear a face covering in most indoor public places and on public transport. Work from home if you can. Meet outdoors, it's safer. Well, that certainly sounds like they're discouraging people from meeting in confined places like restaurants and bars and clubs and, anywhere else that people might have a party. You remember Professor Chris Whitty, don't you? No! Yes. Yeah, that's him. England's chief medical officer, he used a Downing Street press conference to urge people to limit and prioritise their social contacts in coming days. Which doesn't really sit well with going out and having a good time when you're advised to not even go into work. So it's sort of like a lockdown without actually locking us down. And back here from sunny California with a furious look on his face, pulled away from that very, very important Christmas-adjacent business meeting in an area where he has a palatial home, remember. He was probably looking forward to a lot of business meetings over the next 2 weeks from his palatial home in sunny California. But he got dragged back here. Oh, well, never mind. Better luck next time. Anyway, back here, where he may have expected to relax over Christmas, or from where he may be expected... Oh, never mind. Fishy Sunak was being yelled at by the CBI, the Confederation of British Industry, and other groups, who asked him for emergency grants, 100% business rates relief for retail, and for VAT to be reduced to 5% for hospitality and tourism. And so far it's been... No. Tourism? Have we even got any tourism anymore?
No.
Is there a tourist industry in this country that's still alive?
Negative.
And business groups raised concerns about the importance of clear messaging from the government. Clear messaging from the government, that's all we need, Bodge. And in order to clarify things, Bodge said... Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So now it's clear. Stu says, Nick, no way will Boris... Oh, no, I read that. The lead-lined, copper-bottom, ocean-going narcissist. Yeah, I read that one. Yeah, that ocean-going narcissist is going down. Paul tweets, I'm just waiting for Bodge to walk out of Downing Street wearing a medal-laden military uniform. Just a matter of days. Yes. It's the only thing that he hasn't done yet that's on the checklist for a fascist dictatorship. I read this highly amusing list yesterday, which isn't funny in any way, shape or form, about what it is that a regime does to take over in a fascist coup. And weirdly, we appear to be ticking every single one of them. The only thing we haven't seen yet is Bodger shouting at a crowd from behind a lectern wearing a military uniform, although he has worn a police uniform, which, sadly, did not come in his size. He was busting out all over, like a grilled sausage. I think whoever gave him that costume to wear was having a laugh. Is this switchboard working? For crying out loud, I've been talking for 25 minutes. Not one single person is remotely interested in anything I'm saying. Hello, is this thing on? Dave text from last night. Nick woke Abbot. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Warning.
Anybody says the word woke, then you can close your ears a bit and not bother listening to a single other thing they say. Not necessary. Anyway, he says, Nick woke Abbot. Stop virtue signalling. If you think this is bad, Corbyn would have bankrupted this country and crashed the pound. Get your jab and stop your jabber, says Dave. Dave, I mean this in the most helpful and complimentary way. You're an idiot. Richard texts, positives of Brexit. I was asking people positives of Brexit yesterday. Just one single solitary Brexit positive, that's all I'm after. Positives of Brexit, said Richard. You can buy duty-free cigarettes when flying back to the UK from the EU. You've got to be kidding me. That's it. You can buy duty-free cigarettes when you fly back to the UK from the EU. He says if you fly to another EU country, you're not allowed to buy them, says Richard. Duty-free cigarettes. That text came from the 1970s, by the way. Took a long time to get here. These are texts and tweets and such from last night, still wiping them up. Lisa says, can we all now admit that we were conned? The media launched an anti-Corbyn campaign against the very popular Corbyn, switched him with Starmer, who said he was electable, and now they tell us he's unelectable, and the by-election has shown he is less electable than Corbyn. Can we have Corbyn and his clear and just policies back as head of the Labour Party, please?
No.
No, it's a no, Lisa. That ship sailed and sunk too. On that subject, by the way, guess who hates the EU deal? I have detailed files. I'm holding it in the palm of my hand, as a matter of fact. Research has found that Britons who backed Leave have become more likely to say the post-Brexit trade deal was a bad deal in the latest survey compared to a previous poll in January. They've had a time to think about it, and they thought, I don't like it. 36% of voters who supported Brexit now say the UK has a bad deal. Only 22% support it. So that's like 58%. So 42% have got no idea. They have no opinion to express on that subject. They need more time to think. 36% of voters who supported Brexit now say the UK has a bad deal. They don't like it. They said, back in January, the situation was reversed for some odd reason, with 35% of Leave voters saying that Britain had a good deal. I think they were just kidding themselves. They did not want to lose face by admitting that they'd been had. Meanwhile, 66% of Remainers now say that the deal is bad, up from 53% in January. All you've got to do is live with a catastrophe for a little while, and it becomes increasingly hard to call it anything other than a catastrophe. Overall, the study suggests that just 12% of people say Britain has a good deal from Brexit. 12 overall. 12%. You're doing very well, Bodge. Thanks for getting Brexit done. Post-Brexit negotiations on the Northern Ireland Protocol appear to have reached a stalemate. Hey, I thought they needed us more than we needed them. And that Bodger would absolutely not, under any circumstances, allow checks to be made on the border on the island of Ireland. There will be no checks, he said, over and over again. It's almost like he occasionally doesn't tell the truth.
Liar!
And just before he left, Lord Frost was accused of softening his tone over the protocol in a possible sign that the UK could bend before Brussels. Hey, bending before Brussels, that's exactly what the people voted for. On Thursday, the now ex-Brexit minister sparked controversy, not in his comments to the EU, but those two fellow lords. He told the House that Britain's willingness to show pragmatism to Irish goods coming to Britain will depend on how far the EU allows the UK to trade within its own borders. Hey, maybe this is why he upsticked and left. And maybe it didn't have anything to do with him being upset about the costs of bringing this country to net zero. He said the degree of pragmatism that we show in future to Irish goods coming to Britain will be related to the degree of pragmatism and flexibility that the EU shows in allowing goods to move freely around all parts of the UK. Oh, I mean, seriously, this bloke.
Boring!
I mean, I'm amazed he didn't just bore them rigid and they just gave up. Oh, OK, please just stop talking. We'll give you anything you want. I mean, that's the idea of the UK waiting on a thumbs up from Brussels in order to move goods within its own borders. Truly, this is winning Britain, mighty on the world stage, showing Europe that we need them more than they need us. Yeah, that way round. We're not a rule taker. We're not a rule maker. I got that the wrong way around as well. Well, I got one eye on the clock because I'm past a break. 0345 6060 973. Not a rule maker, a rule taker. That way round. It's exactly what people voted for. Hey, look at the time. It's 10:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
Everything is going so well that everyone is departing the ship. Running, screaming down the gangplank. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Narberth. Neil, rather.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. I was just wondering who you thought might take over from Lord Frosty. I wonder if maybe Lord Snooty might fancy a try it.
Yes. Well, that would be absolutely perfect, wouldn't it?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Yes, he could smarm the EU into submission.
I think it'd be perfect if all the sort of architects of this disaster are made to go and negotiate what they actually said they were going to deliver in the first place.
Yeah.
So perhaps we're seeing Snooty and Gove and maybe Uncle Nige as well. He could go perhaps as well.
Oh my God, we're all in deep trouble. Don't even say that out loud.
I'm a nutcase.
Yeah. All right.
I wondered if you noticed today as well something else far more important. Keith Richards is 78 today.
Is he 78 today? Wow, I didn't think he would make 28.
Well,
excellent going there, Keith. How did you do it?
Well, yes, obviously a lot of supplements, vitamins.
That's right. Yeah. Supplements that come in pills, and he snorts them and he pops them, and any way to get those supplements into his body. Absolutely right. All right, thanks a lot, Neil. It's his birthday today. I wonder if he's aware of that fact. Oh, really, man? Really? Wow, that's fantastic. Jim says, I was watching a television news channel this evening, that's yesterday evening, where the presenter described Boris Johnson as the great communicator. There was Boris Johnson who was saying, well, it's all the media's fault. Yeah, and I thought that maybe I missed something there. No, you got everything there, Jim. Didn't miss a thing. I go back to that tweet from Paul that said, I'm just waiting for Bodge to walk out of Downing Street wearing a medal-laden military uniform. You know, there was an article that I retweeted it today about the way in which this country is becoming a totalitarian state, and it's really quite alarming. While we're all concentrating on people having a party, there's something very, very serious going on in this country, and once it happens, we won't be able to get back out of it. And no one's paying the slightest bit of attention. This is serious, people. So I'll get to that in a while. There's nothing funny about it, so I'll put down a bedrock of silliness first, and then we get into serious stuff later. Leatherhead. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Nick.
Tim.
I haven't spoken to you for a while.
Oh, haven't I been lucky?
Lord Frost.
Yeah.
It's great. It's another early Christmas present for everyone. It's just yet another one. Just imagine what it's going to be like by this time next week. We'll be
another one bites the dust. Hey, hey, hey!
Rock and roll. Of course, the press are now playing around. They're calling him Frosty the No Man. So I thought it was quite a good one.
Yes.
But there's a brilliant tweet. Lewis Goodall, I think he's the Sky political correspondent, isn't he?
Okay.
He's just tweeted. He says, "A nation mourns. How will we cope without this unelected, towering intellect in his Union Jack socks?
Yes,
threatening the EU with his limp mediocrity every 5 minutes."
Limp mediocrity.
I wondered if that was a euphemism. I wasn't very sure.
That's just about perfect. Yeah, he looks like a man. He looks like 6 foot of blancmange in a suit.
But, he must be breathing a huge sigh of relief. Finally, there's enough bad things have happened for him to be able to make the excuse and leave the party.
I suppose so, yeah.
He's been sitting looking at the door for the last 6 months thinking, how the hell did I get in here? And more importantly, how do I get out?
Yeah.
And they've delivered at last, so he can relax now and enjoy his own Christmas.
Yeah, and we're not missing him already.
Bye-bye.
All right, thanks a lot. 0345 6060 973. Lucy texts, Bodger's incompetence is truly scary. Mr. Putin is about to remove his shirt, get on his horse and lead 200,000 Russian troops into Ukraine. And what do we expect Bodger to do then? Create yet another distraction? Well, just as long as he doesn't take his shirt off.
Disgusting.
Nobody wants to see that, Bodge. Even Carrie is raising a finger of complaint, just at the very idea. Paul texts, are the Met Police investigating all the parties except the one that allegedly took place where they were actually called to attend because of some clown triggering a fire alarm? And on that subject, some way down, it's something that I said before as well. I can't find it at the moment, but it's something of the order of, I think the Met Office would do a better job of investigating. Yes. Completely correct in every respect. Alarming. Ealing. Hello, John.
Hey.
John.
How is it going?
It's going great, mate.
Well, I'll tell you what, it surprises me. Your last caller described one of the correspondents as a political commentator from Sky. I think he used a more articulate word for it, but I just thought it's clearly an oxymoron.
Is it?
I think it should be anyway.
Why?
Sky is kind of Rupert Murdoch's vehicle.
Yeah, but it's not like Fox News or anything like that. It's it operates in this country under certain rules and regulations. It's a quality news service, Sky.
I know. Well, listen. I'm not being facetious. I'm slightly.
I mean, there's many organisations that you could level that accusation at, but I don't think Sky's one of them.
What GB?
Well, you can name any ones that you like. I just don't think that Sky fits that bill.
Okay, fair enough. I know. Just listen. You can slap me on my wrist, and I will behave myself. But no, what I was going to say is, earlier on you had a caller that rang up and he said something along the lines of, what would Boris Johnson have to do for you to be pleased about what he's doing, because Corbyn would have done far worse.
Oh, yeah, with the whatabouts. Yeah, what about this and what about that? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whataboutery. It's so boring.
Well, it's all people have. I mean, if you arrive at the excuse, don't pick on Boris Johnson, he's doing his best, what about what would have happened if Jeremy Corbyn had been leader, then that means you've completely run out of excuses for what's going on here.
Listen, if my mother had wheels, she'd be a trolley. I don't understand what about if that. If the bottom line is, he's our Prime Minister, and he's clearly devoid of any judgment.
If your mother had wheels, would she really be a trolley, or would she just be a mother with wheels?
I don't know. Listen, this is a Jackie Masonism. I didn't coin it.
I think you have to be a certain type of person to get away with a Jackie Masonism. No offence, but that ain't you, John.
I'm sorry. Listen, I'm trying everything else.
Yeah, well, you are trying. There's no question about that.
Trying.
Yeah, very trying. All right, thanks a lot, John. See, made an effort. We appreciate it. Where is it?
Thank you.
There it is. Scott texts, in the light of all that's happened recently, from the Omicron omnishambles to the Lib Dem victory in Shropshire, the Conservative Party's Christmas parties and the corruption and sleaze of second job MPs, Jeremy Corbyn must resign. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. You see what you've done? No! If only we had not lived through 11 years of a Labour government, under the disastrous premiership of Jeremy Corbyn, then we wouldn't be in this... Oh, no, that's right, we haven't. No, the party is... the party to correct the disaster that the Conservative Party have caused over the last 11 years is the Conservative Party. Because anything else would be, a catastrophe. Steve Baker actually said that out loud on TV the other day, didn't he? He said, the only party that's fit to rule is the Conservative Party. Yeah, one day somebody should introduce him to the Conservative Party. Lewis Goodall is a BBC correspondent, by the way. So says my glamorous assistant, who knows a thing or two about a thing or two. Let's have a call in Southampton. Simon.
I've got Frosty the Go Man.
Yeah. Frosty the Go Man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got up and went.
Now, I'm not rubbing anything in, right? I haven't rung up to rub anything in. But I'm having a fantastic week. This is brilliant. And what a lovely Christmas present for Frosty to disappear tonight. And apparently it was leaked. It wasn't supposed to come out till January, which means that there is definitely somebody not so far away from Mr. Johnson that is determined to see that man fall. I would love to be a fly on the wall. I would love to see what's going on and how he's reacting. And boy, oh boy, do we deserve this. It's fantastic.
I wouldn't be so giddy with delight, Simon, because when he leaves, somebody is going to replace him. And that somebody is quite possibly going to be worse. They'll be worse, not necessarily in the way that they handle the country, but they'll be worse because the Conservative Party will reposition itself as a brand new entity. But it won't be. It'll be the exact same people heading in the exact same direction for the exact same reasons, most of which will be money, honey, not ours, theirs. So I'm not sure that actually losing the bodge is beneficial to those who want rid of the Conservative Party. I mean, we have had 11 years of them. I think, even a reasonable person might say, time's up. It just goes on and on and on. And, of course, they are working overtime in order to make that not happen, to make absolutely certain that no other party ever gets in. Just as the Republican Party are doing in America. It's almost as though they are being funded by the same people, isn't it? Curious. They just keep doing the same things over and over again. Very, very odd. Appealing to well, not exactly the same kind of people. I mean, we don't really have the quantity of dinglings in this country, but then they do have 360 million people over there or thereabouts. For full details, let's go to Zaphod.
And 2, 11.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Shut up.
I can't. Hey, by the way, I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
Now, the delightful Carol McGiffin and I do a podcast called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which we solve people's problems and we don't laugh at all. Isn't that right, Carol?
No.
It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, and if you want us to have a bash at your issue, then send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com, nickandcarol@global.com, and prepare for a certain amount of satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, the last one before Christmas is out on Monday. We got 97 episodes up so far. 97! And we haven't killed each other yet. They're about an hour long. I think you'll find them amusing. If you want to laugh, then it's right up your alley. And when we come back after a couple of weeks break over Christmas, then we'll do the last couple before the grand 100th episode. If you've got Global Player, then you'll find it on that. They do all the stations that we do, all the podcasts. If you do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott Podcasts, then the 3 that I do will come up, including the podcast version of this show. The Friday and Saturday night shows get squirted up the internet as a podcast. And I knew that was coming. It still made me laugh. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
Yeah.
Now, Iris texts, Nick, the Tories are desperate to win the next election so that they can deflect any probing into the massive overspending, for example, on track and trace's £59 billion and everything else in Zafod's list. How's that contact tasting going?
Contact tracing.
Yes, exactly. That's part of the reason that they're desperate to win the next election. That and the fact that, continuing to hold on to the reins of power is the most important thing to them because of what you can do with it. The left, meanwhile, will crumble in a heap because they'll be fighting with themselves over who has the purest thoughts. I've pretty much given up on them. The Labour Party will start punching each other in the face because they don't want this leader and they would prefer another leader and you didn't think right about this green issue or, oh, God, it's just painful. And the Tories will look at them askance and think, yes, I am quite right in thinking that I am a superior person. And they'll just easily glide over the finishing line and take the tape. But uppermost in their minds, it must be that if they don't win the next election, then it is possible that the people will start to investigate them. Winning the next election is the greatest get-out-of-jail-free card that has ever been invented. So, yes, I would imagine that they are desperate and will do absolutely anything to hold on to power. And like I said, the left will they won't even start racing. They'll be too busy worrying about whether the lines are straight enough or it's just painful. Painful. But this guy, a chap called Richard Haviland, he did an interesting thread on Twitter, which amounts to a page and a bit. About the state of UK democracy, and it is alarming. The stuff that's happening while everybody's concentrating on parties and all of this nonsense that we're obsessed about. It's not nonsense. It's actually really important, but it's less important than what is happening to our democracy. So I'll get into that in a while because it's kind of depressing, a little bit depressing, but it's very, very important. Windsor. Hello, Christine.
Hello.
Christine.
Hi. How are you, Nick?
I'm great, mate.
Yeah, you're on form today.
Oh, thanks.
And rightly so. The Tory government go on about Jeremy Corbyn, but I can assure you he wouldn't have filled his cronies with boots with money of £6 billion, and now making the poor workers of this country to pay through their taxes.
I very much doubt that if the Labour Party had been in power for the last 11 years, that their major offering to the public would be levelling up. I think that they would probably have tried to start doing that 11 years ago, but maybe that's just me.
But the problem is that over here, it's absolute corruption, where he's actually putting people in the House of Lords. By paying £3,000 for £3 million, I don't know how much it is.
It's all about the money, honey.
It is all about the money, honey. And the problem is that the poor of this country, they keep saying that there are millions of jobs over here, but you pay somebody £10.50 an hour, that's not even a living wage, £10.50. And power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolute power corrupts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when are we going to wake up the working classes of this country and realise that we've been sold a Mickey?
Yeah, wake up, people. It's later than you think.
Because, Brexit has actually destroyed our economy. We're a stalemate. We're on the brink of not having stock sent into shops.
It's very interesting that even the people that are Brexit evangelists, even they think that we've got a rum deal out of this. Leavers hate the deal. Only 12% of people in this country say that we have a good deal from Brexit. 12%.
It's absolute lunacy, isn't it? The lunatic fringe of the right wing and the media, the right-wing media, has pushed Brexit to such an extent and absolutely hammered poor Jeremy Corbyn. I'll tell you, he wouldn't be as corrupt as Johnson and his crowd. They are
It's
dishonourable to the House of Parliament.
It's inconceivable that such a thing would have happened. I mean, who in our lifetime, your lifetime, I don't know how old you are, Christine, don't tell me. In your lifetime, have you ever seen anything like it?
No.
No, me either.
Maggie Thatcher was bad, but she's not as bad as this lot. This lot are corrupt, absolutely corrupt.
Yeah, at least, I mean, you know, I was at university when Maggie Thatcher was on the throne, and it's impossible for me to say her name any other way than Thatcher. but at least she sort of believed in something. It might not have been a belief that the entire country could have benefited from, but at least she seemed to be a relatively decent person. Can I say that out loud without choking on my words? But this lot, oh my God.
An awful lot of wrong. She sold our manufacturing industry down the drain.
Yeah.
So we have nothing to back us up.
Right.
We're just, buyers and sellers, and we have to depend on other countries to produce for us.
Well, she was all about that Reaganomics, that trickle-down economics, which is, the idea that if you give rich people a lot of money, then they will distribute that evenly among the poor. Or the poor will get a look in one way or another. And, of course, we find that that is, not surprisingly, untrue.
Yes. But I have to agree with everything you've said so far. And there's more to come out. This bill that they brought out for the dual nationality is a distraction. And they've slipped it through, hiding behind COVID and and everything else. But
if I thought
an absolute undemocratic thing that they've done.
If I thought that they were smart enough, I would suspect that this whole Partygate thing was deliberately put into the media just to take our mind off the real business, which is the removal of our human rights.
Exactly, that's what she's doing. And we have to stand up to it, be like the French and storm the Bastille, which is storm the House of Parliament.
Well, let's not get carried away. We don't have to be like the French. I mean, the French pick up paving stones and start chucking them at gendarmes if they don't like what wine they've been given with lunch.
No, I don't agree with that. But what I'm saying is it's gone to a stage where we are really suffering. The workers of this country are really suffering. The business classes are suffering. And there's no support from this government. Rishi Sunak should actually come back and say he's going to give
the hospitality industry
that are suffering, especially the.
Well, he says that he's helping his face off, and he absolutely can't do any more, and he's a bit busy now because he has to go and pick up a new cashmere hoodie. So he's got a lot on his plate. All right, thanks a lot, Christine. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, we'll just leave it in the hands of billionaires because, they'll act in our best interest. David texts, I'm surprised that people are surprised that the Tories have been misbehaving. It's what they've always done and always will. It's the one constant in politics. My only surprise is that people keep voting for them. What's that all about? What's that all about, says David. What is that about, Bodge? He's going to get back to us. He actually doesn't know right now. It's as mystifying to him as it is to everybody else. Oh, yeah, but what about Jeremy Corbyn? Painful. I'm still getting through the texts and emails from last night. Oh, my God, there's so many of them. How do these people get my number? I'll never get through this. Iris says... No, I've read that. Chris says, it's not about the cheese and wine. OK, here's the serious bit. OK, you're not going to like this. Straight into the news with the serious bit. But this is the point that I made yesterday. It's not about the cheese and the wine. It's the hundreds who died that day of the party, suffocating in a COVID ICU ward, surrounded by strangers wearing masks, and the thousands of people who heard of their deaths and couldn't be there with them or share their grief with family members from other households because of the lockdown. That's what it's about, says Chris. Completely correct in every respect. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
Well, let's get back to it.
Sadiq Khan has declared a major incident in London after what is described as a huge surge of Omicron, we're all going to die cases.
Emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street.
Yes, in a press release, the Mayor of London said, declaring a major incident means there will be closer coordination between key public services in responding to the situation.
What?
Don't key services coordinate already? All right? You got to have an emergency before key services coordinate. What the hell does that mean? Sadiq Khan said the surge in cases of the Omicron variant across our capital is hugely concerning. So we are once again declaring a major incident because of the threat of COVID-19 to our city. It's right that London's key agencies work closely together to minimise the impact of our city, including, but not limited to, helping to protect the vital vaccination programme. Well, yeah, it is vital, but it's more alarming that they would only coordinate when you declare a state of emergency. I mean, a major incident is defined as an event or situation with a range of serious consequences which requires special arrangements to be implemented. It's beyond the scope of business-as-usual operations and is likely to involve serious harm, damage, disruption or risk to life or welfare, essential services, the environment or national security. Blimey, that sounds serious. So, what are the numbers?
86%, 5 million, and of course...
There have been 65,525 new confirmed cases in London in the past 7 days. 26,418 cases reported in the last 24 hours. It's the highest number since the start of the pandemic. The number of COVID-19 patients in London hospitals has gone up 29% in 1 week.
Oh, no.
Now, that's the figure that they say on the news. 29% in a week. That sounds serious. 29% up. That's a big number. Unless it's a jump from a very small number. The actual numbers. A further 341 people with COVID were in hospital in London on December the 17th, yesterday. That's rising from 1,193. That's the 29% leap. From 1,193 to 340 an extra 341. So 29% sounds like a big leap, but it's just 341 more people. And more than two-thirds of COVID-19 cases in London are now estimated to be Omicron, which, you know what? I am not an expert, but this doesn't prevent me from having a strong opinion. Just like everybody else. We're all virologists now. It might be good news. I mean, if it is milder, like they say in South Africa, which is where it comes from, might that mean that Omicron is going to make other strains die out? And we'll be left with a weaker variant. And then we might be free of this nightmare. I mean, there's a lot of ifs in that thought. Meanwhile, London councils have begun preparing for a New Year lockdown.
Oh, fabulous.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're going to have a lockdown, what's the point in waiting until it's too late? I mean, waiting until it's too late seems to be this government's thing. They've done it over and over and over again. If at first you don't succeed, keep doing the same thing over and over. That'll work. Here's the news from South Africa. This is Bloomberg reporting this. South Africa delivered some positive news on the Omicron virus variant on Friday, reporting a much lower rate of hospital admissions and signs that the wave of infections may be peaking. I mean, it's only been going there for like a week or so. South African Health Minister Joe Blimey, no idea. There's 3 A's in his name. Fala said at a press conference that only 1.7% of identified COVID-19 cases were admitted to hospital in the second week of infections in the fourth wave. So it's been going for 2 weeks there. As compared with 19% in the same week of the third Delta-driven wave. So Delta, 19% of people with it were admitted to hospital. Omicron, 1.7%, a smaller number. Health officials presented evidence that the strain may be milder and that infections may already be peaking in the country's most populous province, Gauteng. Still, new cases in that week of the current wave were more than 20,000 a day. That's compared with 4,400 in the same week of the third wave. So there's more people getting it, but there's fewer people going into hospital with it. That's evidence of Omicron's rapid transmissibility, which we're experiencing now. So what happens in South Africa might be an indication of where we're going. Scientists have cautioned that other nations may have different experiences to South Africa as the country's population is young compared with developed nations. Also, between 70 and 80% of citizens in South Africa may have had a prior COVID-19 infection, according to antibody surveys, meaning that they could have some level of protection. So it might not necessarily happen here like it's happening there, but this is it's a scintilla of good news, just a little bit. More than 90% of hospital deaths in South Africa were among unvaccinated or partially vaccinated people. Currently, there are 7,600 people with COVID-19 in South African hospitals, about 40% of the peak in the second and third waves. Excess deaths, a measure of the number of deaths against a historical average, just below 2,000 a week, an eighth of their previous peak. See, people are running around pulling their hair out, going in this country and talking about shutting us all back indoors again, and just look what's happening in Africa. The number of COVID-19 hospitalizations is also being inflated by the fact that milder patients are being admitted because there is room to accommodate them, because there's fewer people in hospital, not getting turned away like last time. And many are there for other complaints, but are routinely tested. Just like here. There's the figure they give is people in hospital with COVID, not necessarily people in hospital because of COVID, just with it. They say, we have seen a decrease in a proportion of people who need to be on oxygen. So said the health minister there. The numbers are at very low levels. And there was further evidence that the crest of infections may have already passed in Tshwane, the municipal area in Gauteng that includes Pretoria. Hey, finally, someplace I've heard of. A wastewater analysis carried out by the South African Medical Research Council for the week ended December the 10th showed a declining proportion of viral particles for 2 successive weeks at the plant that treats sewage draining from central Pretoria.
Disgusting.
So there you are. It's not all bad. People are freaking out. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think that this is just playing into the hands of those who wish to distract us. I mean, that does seem a bit of an extreme position to hold, that's why this is happening and that they are reacting in this way. But, you know, weirder things have happened this year. Mikey emails, wouldn't it be easier for the police to investigate Tories who did not go to a party last December? It would take less time, yeah, that's for sure. Joanne texts, are you upset that Lord Frost has resigned and Brexit might not go as well as it had been without him at the helm, like Kate Winslet on the Titanic? What? Shall I read that again?
No.
Hi, Nick. Are you upset that Lord Frost has resigned and Brexit might not go as well as it has been without him at the helm, like Kate Winslet on the Titanic? Kate Winslet was never at the helm. Was she? Was she trying to park the Titanic, and that's what sunk it? Thanks a lot, Kate. Daniel says, I'm guessing Lord Frost resigned in a petulant fury after discovering he's one of those unelected bureaucrats that his lot despise. Yes. If he doesn't know that already, you just wait till he gets told. Unelected bureaucrats, which we no longer wish to be run by, apart from all the unelected bureaucrats that we're run by, apart from that. Small issue, tiny. James says, Sir George Walker, an ex-Tory MP, was asked in an interview if he would buy a second-hand car off Johnson. He puckered his lips and said yes. Would you happen to have Sir George's contact details, as I've got some magic beans I'm trying to sell? I would like to see footage of that. Where's the evidence? Robert says, this country's going to hell. Brexit, COVID and Boris, all at the same time. There couldn't have been a worse time for all of these to happen at once. Coincidence or fate? Furthermore, there could be Scottish independence. It's a sort of a chain reaction. Yeah, he's like it's like Chernobyl. He's our own international disaster.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, somebody should put a concrete dome over him. Let's have a call in Dagenham. Hello, Karen.
Hi.
Karen.
Why don't Boris just do a lockdown like France?
What's a lockdown in France look like?
Well, they're not letting anybody in. They're trying to get the low rates.
I don't think I don't think at this point not letting anyone in is going to make the slightest bit of difference. It's here already.
Well, yeah, I know, but people are going round. They're congregating. Why don't he have a lockdown?
What do you want another lockdown for?
Because I can't go out.
Oh, right. So you can't go out, so nobody else will be able to go out.
I'm not... Let me get this straight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a husband. My carers used to take me out. But because my immune system now, I can't go out.
Right, but why do you want a lockdown?
Because I want this country to be safe.
Yeah, but we've had a lockdown already. Are we safe?
No, not with this
not
one,
really.
I must admit.
No. See, we've done that already.
It's really frustrating.
We've done it already. We've been through that already, like multiple times, and we're still here.
Yeah, but what's the answer?
God, I had no idea. I wish I did. You know what? It might be. This might be the end of it. Because some people say that some viruses, what the sort of life cycle of them is, it's very serious at the beginning, and then it just becomes gradually weaker and weaker and weaker, and then it just becomes something we can live with, like the flu, for instance.
Just like the flu.
Exactly. So if this thing, if this Omicron variant becomes dominant, as it seems to be doing, then it might edge out all the more serious variants, and it would be something we could live with. Because, I mean, they're saying in South Africa that people get a little bit of a sniffle and they feel a little bit for a day or so, and then they bounce back. Now, wouldn't that be great?
Oh, that would be brilliant. Really would. I mean, I've lost a couple of friends.
Right.
And it's pitiful to see them.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And
so it just might be one of those things that we all went through a nightmare, and it's going to end eventually, you'd hope, and this might be it. This might be it ending.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Well, fingers crossed, eh?
The country could cope with anything else.
Well, I think that we've been very good up to this point, don't you?
Yeah.
I think we've been good little boys and girls when we've taken our instruction and we've sat inside with a bag over our head when we've been instructed to. Even though our masters, when they instructed us to, then they said, thanks very much for your close attention, and then they went off and had a party.
I know.
You believe that?
Oh, that's just beyond a joke.
Yeah.
That really is. And I used to think Boris was all right, but I tell you something, he is useless. he isn't.
I think it's true that we can no longer say that he is doing his best.
No.
Although, if if it is true that he is actually doing his best, then we're in worse trouble than I previously imagined. Hey, Karen, I wish you all the best. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
I am being copied into screenshots from a Tory WhatsApp group indicating party infighting. The Conservatives are infighting. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Sam Coates has screenshots from a Tory WhatsApp group indicating party infighting. The group called Clean Global Brexit. What are they like? The group called Clean Global Brexit on the super-secret WhatsApp group shows Andrew Bridgen, Marcus Fish, Geoffrey Clinton Brand and Andrew Bridgen, amongst 100 other Tories, all criticising the PM in the wake of Lord Frost's resignation. Nadine Dorris steps in to defend the PM. It's OK, Boris. Nadine Dorris will defend you. She says the hero is the Prime Minister who delivered Brexit. Oh, God, you've got to be kidding me. She says, I'm aware, as someone said today, the regicide is in the DNA of the Conservative Party, but a bit of loyalty to the person who won an 83 majority and delivered Brexit wouldn't go amiss. Delivered Brexit. Hey, how's Brexit going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, delivered. Put it on your door, took a picture of it, and then scarpered. In response to this, Steve Baker removed her from the group with the comment, enough is enough. You sure it's all right for me to be reading this stuff?
I was double-checking it because it seems wild, but, yeah. I mean, it's from Sky News, right. It's from Sam Coates.
OK. And Sky News are actually putting this on their website, are they?
Not as of yet. It's about 20 minutes old. He tweeted this about 20 minutes ago.
Right. So it's hot news. In response to this, Steve Baker removed her from the group with the comment, enough is enough. And goes on to elaborate, the majority was won for many reasons, the majority that the Conservatives currently enjoy. Among them, two were identical. One, the deal he voted for was rejected. And two, someone, but not him, persuaded Farage not to run against incumbents. If Boris had not benefited from them both, we would be on the other benches. In other words, they would have lost. Sam is also reporting that a Tory commented, this is proof that Baker, for all his claims of loyalty, is after the PM's job and won't tolerate people defending him. Only punishing. Steve Baker, the next Prime Minister. Yes?
No.
It's a no from me. Regent's Park. Hello, Vance.
Hi, Nick. You're on fire tonight. It's really great.
Thanks.
Nick, before I make my main point, can I just ask you a question? Your numbers man, who you're always bringing on, I don't know the origin of that. Was he trying to count his own brain cells or something?
And 1, 2, 3, 6 million.
No!
What was he trying to do?
I may have edited him from a larger piece, yes.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I love it anyway. The thing I wanted to mention, Nick, you know how Bodger loves talking about creatures, Peppa Pig?
Peppa Pig World.
Yeah,
Peppa Pig World it has...
Peppa Pig? Peppa Pig is the right answer. Peppa Pig World has Peppa Pig. Good boy, Bodge.
Well, he now can boast about porcupines.
Porcupines?
Yeah. On Monday, the Ministry of Defence brought out a report on the state of our Navy.
Uh-oh.
And it reports that we have six new, sleek Type 45 frigates. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, that successive Tory governments, including Bodger, have been boasting about. Well, the report tells us that 5 of them are in dock being repaired because they don't like sailing in warm water.
In water, that's right, yeah. They're allergic to water. We've got a lot of boats, but we can't actually put any of them in water.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a small problem.
So only one is operational. But the report added that even when they're operational, they're useless as attack vessels.
Yeah.
Their weaponry is overwhelmingly defensive, and the minister himself said they're like floating porcupines. That's about how useful they are. Floating porcupines.
Yeah. And when Vladimir Putin heard this, he said, it's like Christmas and birthdays all come at once. Eh, Vlad?
Yeah. And Nick, when are people going to wake up to the fact that our government has been dysfunctional in every area?
Every area.
It's not absolutely every area.
Yeah, not just in Westminster, but here, there and everywhere, baby.
Yeah, and on that, can I just make a slight sales pitch? There's a new little book that's come out called Pandemonium, and it's written by a guy called Armando Iannucci. It's a grand poem in Miltonian style.
Poem?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a no from me.
It's called Some Verses on the Current Predicament, and the main character is Orbis Rex.
Who?
That means Orbis Rex.
Orbis
That's Latin
Rex.
for King of the World.
King of the World, yeah.
But the interesting thing is if you rearrange the letters in Orbis, you can spell Boris.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, if you squint, that's right.
It's screamingly funny.
Cruciverbalists will be ahead of you on that one.
Yes, I suppose so. Anyway, keep it up, Nick.
Thanks a lot, mate. 0345. Ciao, did he say? That sounded like a European word to me.
Bye-bye.
Be English. 0345 6060 973. Phil tweets, I'm no Tory by any stretch of the imagination, but can we just bring back Theresa May as PM? At least she's not corrupt, says Phil. I think she was perhaps unfairly maligned, at least compared with, the current incumbent. We probably would not be in this position if they had just stuck with Theresa. And nobody has ever, in the history of the planet, ever said that Theresa or any other Prime Minister of this country was doing their best and we should leave them alone. Crying out loud. The infantilisation of the nation continues apace. And the nation said, Paul says, I think you may be wrong. What? If Johnson goes, the Tory membership will get the final say on the new leader. It's not going to be Lefty Gove or Sunak. They'll pick Patel or Raab. No way. The country will not... they can pick Patel or Raab if they like, but the country is not going to vote for them. Anyway, there's more. He says it's not going to be Lefty Gove or Sunak. I don't think Gove's a lefty, is he? And Sunak's not a lefty either. Bloke's a billionaire, for crying out loud. He's a banker. Boo! Lefty. They'll pick Patel or Raab, right-wing nutters in their own image, says Paul. Well, that's a strong opinion, Paul. He says if Franco or Mussolini could stand, they'd pick them. This is going to get a lot worse. It isn't hilarious. Yeah, there's nothing to laugh about. Be alarmed. Be very alarmed. They're going to have to pick somebody that the nation can live with in the event of a general election. And Priti Patel? No. Angular, tetchy, humanoid, Dominic Deckchair Raab? It's a no from me.
Negative.
And the country at large. I betcha. Betcha. The only reason that they're in the power right now, and they have that stonking... what's the word? Majority. Stonking majority. Is because Bodger presents himself as a cuddly child's toy. Very unthreatening. He's got this sort of squiffy persona that he looks like an untucked schoolboy. You know, like Just William. People of a certain age will remember Just William. He looks like a character out the Beano, doesn't he? Not like a real human being. Like the sort of toy that you'd pick up off the shelves at Hamleys. It'd be the last one there, as the crowds have charged through there, picking up absolutely everything that their little darlings have in mind. They put him on their Santa list, and he'll be the only toy left. Oh, he's doing his best. See, no other politician elicits that sort of response in people, in grown-ups. And so they're not going to replace a stuffed child's toy with somebody as alarming as Priti Patel or Dominic Raab. They just aren't. It's going to have to be somebody that's palatable to the general public. I can't imagine who it's going to be, frankly. I mean, I suppose Fishy Sunak, sort of fits the bill a bit, until you sort of delve into his history, and then, like I said, he's a banker. No! And a billionaire, by the way. Yeah, don't put your faith in the kindness of billionaires, because you may be disappointed. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC, it's 11:30. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
I am not one of your fans!
Ron says, I think as part of the dictatorship, we should have a military parade to boost people's morale and warn the Russians off invading Ukraine. Good idea, Ron. Let's see if we can't rustle up some missiles. I wonder if the leader of the day pressed the big red button marked
Warning, warning.
Our nuclear weapons would actually work. I mean, my money is on not. My money is on the big red button marked
Warning, warning.
Isn't actually connected to anything. I know they disconnected Donald Trump's button and just attached it to a Diet Coke vending machine. Every time he was slamming his ridiculously tiny hands down on that button, when Kim Jong-un criticised his enormous fatness, which is a bit rich, right enough. He was slamming his fist down on that big red button and he just kept getting Diet Cokes. You'd think that he would learn eventually, but he is a smart person.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
And we know that because he said so. David says, I suppose the Brexiters, opposed to us being controlled by unelected bureaucrats, will be pleased that their chief negotiator has resigned from his unelected post. Will he remain as an unelected bureaucrat in the House of Lords? You bet your life he will. Forever. Yeah, that's the nature of democracy in this country. It's just comical. It really is. It's I don't know. Is it funny anymore? I think I might be on the verge of running out of funny. Harrow, Sebastian.
Hi, Nick. A great program as usual.
Thanks.
Listening intently. You mentioned a lot earlier, that South Africa variant, where it was discovered there. It was reported as Omicron.
Omicron, we're all going to die. Yes.
Omicron. But don't forget, it's the middle of summer over there, and these viruses tend to not be too bad in summer.
Well, I don't think the seriousness of the virus is affected. It's how often it's passed on, isn't it? In summer, I mean, the actual virus itself doesn't decrease in seriousness. It's how easily it's passed on because people are outside and
Ding.
Thanks. Providing sound effects for me. Yeah. Was there any more?
No, you're right.
Right.
But I guess we all have to factor in infectiousness as well. Well, the strength of the virus, absolutely understand. I understand that.
Yeah.
But how fast it grows also affects how many people it affects.
Of course, yeah. But I'll give you an extreme example. If this virus had absolutely no effects whatsoever, it wouldn't be at all important if it replicated itself massively. If it, had a doubling every 2 seconds, it would make no difference if it had absolutely no effect. So that's an extreme example. I'm not saying that the Omicron variant has no effect. It does, obviously. But it might not be as serious a position as certain people are saying. Now, I know that those people have greater knowledge of all of these things than I do, but the South Africans ain't stupid. I mean, they've gone through this. They're a week or two ahead of us. And their experience does count for something, surely. We're not starting from zero, but people have been through this already. All right, thanks, Sebastian. But we have the potential of new measures. New and exciting measures.
Oh, no.
Tougher measures could be introduced to stem the spread of the Omicron coronavirus variant, with reports that plans are being drawn up for a 2-week circuit breaker over Christmas.
What?
Ministers are due imminently to present draft regulations that would mean England, at least, returning to restrictions last seen in April. And measures are already underway for ministers to have lockdown-busting parties as soon as they announce restrictions for the rest of us. The measures could ban people meeting other people indoors except for work after 2 weeks, for 2 weeks rather, after Christmas, with pubs and restaurants limited for the fortnight of the lockdown to outdoor service only. Outdoor service only in January. It's a no from me.
No, 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 no.
Apparently Bodger has not approved the plans, and yesterday he insisted he was not closing things down. That's his insistence. He's not doing it. So he'll be closing things down then. Meanwhile, leaked minutes of a meeting of the Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies, SAGE, said that without government intervention beyond the recently announced Plan B measures, hospital admissions in England could reach at least 3,000 a day. Yeah, but they're just guessing, though, aren't they? The minutes of the SAGE meeting held on Thursday said if the aim is to reduce the levels of infection in the population and prevent hospitalisations reaching these levels, more stringent measures would need to be implemented very soon. And with the virus that's being passed on as fast as the cocaine at a Westminster party, very soon means now. Otherwise, what are they talking about? I mean, you don't stop the spread of a virus by saying you'll do something later. We've been down that road already, haven't we? Multiple times. At least twice. A virus doesn't wait while you consult your oracle and your special public relations operative and your wife, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
On the other hand, we've had lockdowns already and we've still got the virus charging about among us. And we've still got a worse result than Sweden, which didn't do any of that lockdown stuff. Swedish people, always so perfect with their flat-pack furniture and their smorgasbords and their 6-foot blonde hotness. I hate them. I hate them. On the subject of lockdowns, the SAGE minutes said the timing of such measures is crucial and that delaying until 2022 would greatly reduce the effectiveness of such interventions and make it less likely that these would prevent considerable pressure on health and care settings. The Financial Times reported that Bodger was presented with a number of options on Friday under a so-called Plan C, ranging from mild guidance to nudge people right through to a lockdown. And which route he'll take may depend on whether we keep haranguing him about Downing Street parties and government corruption and the rapid slide into an elected dictatorship. The ball's in our court. The chairman of the NHS Confederation backed a circuit breaker to tackle the spread of the Omicron variant. He said the fact of the matter is we should be taking the precautionary principle. We should be protecting our NHS and our public services. We have no economy without health, he said. And that's true. But we also have no economy without people working and spending and going out and having fun. You remember having fun, don't you?
No.
According to the government's latest figures, the number of people in hospital with COVID in London, which has seen some of the biggest rises in cases in the last 7 days, increased by 28.6%. But that's only 100-odd people. In a town of, how many people live in London? It's about 9-10 million, something like that. Across the UK, 7,611 people are in hospital with the virus. Yesterday, a rise of 163 patients. That's 2% up on the previous week. I don't know. Are we freaking out about this too much? And if we're not freaking out about it too much, then what's the point of waiting until after Christmas? I mean, what's the difference between the 25th of December and the 25th of January? What difference does it make? I mean, Jesus didn't actually get born on Christmas Day. well, not the way that we have it in our calendar, not the 25th of December. That's just something that they appended to an already existing celebration of the shortest day. Weird that they don't have it on the actual shortest day. They missed it by a couple of days. But if it is as serious as they say, then we shouldn't wait until we lock down, because waiting will make it too late. I'm not saying that they should lock down. I'm just saying, what's the point of locking down if you wait? If you're going to do it, you have to do it now. But, as I've said, we've been through this over and over again. They wait until it's too late, and then they do something. That appears to be the plan. Ain't it, Bodge? Yes. Marion says, who do you think will be next to jump ship? Place your bets. Bet nah. Next to jump ship. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, does it? Whoever gets to replace them will be just the bloomin' same. Let's have a call in... Oh, how about Toulouse in French France? Martin.
Nick, hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Excellent. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to chat because it's
Are you using a landline, by the way?
No? Is it a bit furry or something?
No, it's absolutely perfect. It's clear as a bell.
Well, that must be something to do with not Brexit or something. I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, I guess I just kind of wanted to say that I used to work in London, and very often I used to share a walk, actually, with Boris from London Bridge Station to City Hall or nearby. My office was just around the corner.
Share a walk with him?
Yes.
What does that mean? He was on a lead?
Well, he might as well have been. But he'd either be 10 yards in front of me or 10 yards behind.
Oh, okay. Right. Not with,
whatever,
but near. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. You felt slightly inclusive because in those days, when he was London mayor, it was sort of quite exciting. He was a bit sort of free and easy, and it felt you were sort of included in the glow if you were near him, and it was quite interesting. And he used to sort of hold his hand up and sort of acknowledge everyone and say, "Hello, comrades," and all that sort of stuff,
right.
And all that crap. Sorry, and now I'm living in the south of France, and it's just incredible. I go into the smallest boulangerie in a little village in the middle of nowhere, and if someone says to me, are you English or whatever, and I say, oui, they just literally do a finger round the temple as if to suggest I'm completely nuts.
Martin, in your position, I would claim to be either Welsh or Scottish.
Well, it's tempting, but I mean, the thing is, it's gone beyond parody.
Yeah.
So you acknowledge that you are in some way connected to the great leader, and therefore the joke has gone beyond a joke. And
it has. Yes, this country is now being ridiculed internationally. We need Donald Trump to become the president of the United States of America again, and then we won't be the laughing stock of the world.
Oh, shut up! Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm in a little village, and there's Dutch and there's English here, and there is absolutely no doubt that unfortunately this little island of the UK or whatever it is seen literally for what it is, just a complete joke,
well, we used to. It's like whose line was it? It was the fellow in Apocalypse Now, Colonel Kurtz. What was his name? Marlon Brando. It's like Marlon Brando's line. I used to be somebody. No, that wasn't his line, was it? It was, I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. Yeah, we could have been somebody. We were somebody, and we could have been a contender, but we decided to shoot ourselves in the foot. Yeah, good plan.
Yeah, I know, and it is really extraordinary. And as I said, I live in a tiny little commune, as they call them here, and it's quite touching, actually, because every little commune, and this commune has probably got 20 houses or something, But in every commune, there's a Murray, like a town, well, the equivalent of a town hall. And so it can be a completely dilapidated community. I mean, literally falling down houses that used to be, important or whatever. But, I mean, they're nothing now. And, and
faded grandeur,
Yeah, exactly. But there's a brand new Marie in every little commune, and the French government always support them, so they pay for that. So there's always this gleaming, the equivalent in England is a village hall, I guess. And
let me ask you something about an unrelated topic. If you wanted to go and see your GP, how long would it take to do?
To be honest, I'm lucky enough to say I've never needed to do that. But
right.
I think you can do it. I know. Actually, we had people staying with us last Christmas, and someone needed to see someone, and they got in very quickly. So there's not a problem with that.
How quickly? I mean, a couple of weeks. Did it take 2 weeks?
Oh no, immediately.
Immediately. That's what I heard. Yeah. I know somebody who lives in France, and I asked them the very same question: how long would it take to see your GP? And she said, if I called this morning, he would come to me this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a very it's odd, France, because it suffers slightly from this image of being a bit pompous or whatever, but it's actually just politeness.
France
elevated.
Suffers from an image of being pompous.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Have you heard us? Yes, Martin, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Pompous smug.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
The brilliant, the one and only, successful genius.
Thanks a lot, Smug. You're the best. Did you hear that bloke in France who said that French people have the reputation of being pompous?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Say it again.
I don't know anything.
Say it again.
I don't know anything.
And again.
I don't know anything.
Thanks. Jake tweets, hi, Nick. Have you heard about all of these texts that Liz Cheney read out to Congress? Do you think that Don Jr. is the least favourite son now? No, I've been concentrating my ire elsewhere. No, I did not see that. But I think he's probably completely correct in every respect.
Believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me. Okay.
What do you think, Kanye?
Whoop-dee-dee scoop poop.
Any idea, Melania?
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. Enfield. Hello, Mike.
Hi there. I think it's about time we followed Singapore and Greece. Those people that don't have the jabs should pay the fees of the NHS. That's
we're all paying the fees of the NHS.
Yes, but the jab is available. Why do we have to put more pressure on the doctors? Because people are selfish and they don't want to have the jabs.
Well, selfish might not be quite the right word. People are frightened, perhaps, or they're concerned, or they've read something that they didn't like the sound of.
But look what's happened in the last few weeks with this COVID from South Africa, and the genes of South Africans are not the same as the genes of Europeans. And they eat different foods, and they're in different areas, aren't they? So we don't know how it affects the British compared to how it affects the Africans.
Well, they're in a different country. That's definitely true.
Yeah, they eat different foods, so their metabolism is different from their metabolism in England. So,
well, you mean they're less
more
fat?
People are going in.
Is that what you mean?
Very good.
They don't have the same fatness. Yes, it's probably correct.
Well, generation after generation, compared to generation in English, generation after generation, they've got different antibodies.
Well, I'm not sure that's... I don't think that's relevant. But you know what? I don't know. I haven't heard any evidence that the virus affects different types of people who in different countries in a different way. But perhaps you know better. Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. It might come down to eventually governments around the world will say, well, you know what? You're going to have to get a vaccine. Otherwise, we will start to dole out the punishment. I think in France you have to present it to get into anywhere these days. If you want a refreshment,
booze,
then you've got to present proof that you've been vaxxed, I think, in France. I'm not entirely sure what the rules are these days, but I think they're more strict than ours are. And Holland is closing down its hospitality.
Want to score some pot?
And so people were freaking out over there. Long lines to make sure that they got all of their, supplies before the shops shut. So, relatively speaking, we're having, an easier time than some, but not as easy as others. See Swedish people for full details. I have detailed files about Sweden, by the way. I don't know if I can bother to read them all. Shall I give you the numbers? I mean, Sweden is a place that I used to talk about all the time. When this mess started, God, it seems like so long ago. And people will call up and shout at me for even suggesting that there might be another way to deal with this virus. Well, we've had about 146,000 deaths so far. That's 0.2% of the population. Sweden, on the other hand, has had 15,191 deaths. We've had 146,000. Sweden has had 15,191. That's 0.2% of our population has died with COVID. 0.09% of the population of Sweden has died with COVID. So they've had less than half of our fatality rate per head of population. And Sweden's had hardly any restrictions at all, practically nothing. We would not have recognised their experience of this compared to our own. They have less than half the death rate that we have. Belgium has about the same population as Sweden. They've been locking down like we have, and they've got a worse death rate than we do. And way worse than the Swedes. So this whole idea that locking down is the it of it, and is the only way to allow more people to survive than would otherwise be the case, it's not necessarily true. I'm not sure it's been utterly, completely and totally proven. I mean, we've locked down over and over again, and we've still got it. 0345 6060 973. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, Nick.
Jan.
Good evening. Yes, your show is very upbeat. It's uplifting even when some of the news is quite grim.
Yes.
But I rang through to share an experience of mine travelling by railway, which I can't remember when I last went anywhere far away. Not far away, but made a journey by bus or railway. I stayed very local, walking around, and I felt brave. I had to go somewhere important because I've had my booster jab.
Oh yeah.
I'm feeling, reasonably safe. I've got a mask that protects me from other people.
Probably not. No, remember the mask protects other people from what you have.
No, I've got a special mask. At least if it's, I may have to. It's one of those nanotechnology masks with charcoal and stuff.
Does it cover your whole head and only comes in black? Is it one of those kind of masks?
No, but I've got two types of masks that claim to protect me and other people from me. So right. I did a bit of research. I need to do more to stock up, and they can be cleaned, not thrown away after one wear like some of these masks. But I didn't mean to speak about. I want to speak about. I'm not surprised that this Omicron is going like wildfire around, because when I was out there were times when I started to panic. I couldn't get on the train at some points because it seemed to me that people still aren't taking it seriously.
When you say train, do you mean train or tube?
Railway.
Railway, okay,
I
the
wouldn't go on the tube. It's too closed up. But I went by, southern railways.
Yeah.
I mean, Tooting, I had to get to Croydon.
Oh, why would you want to do that? Why would anybody want to go from the delights of Tooting to Croydon?
Oh, because I have a dentist there.
Oh, a dentist, right.
Well, I feel safe.
Yes.
So anyway, but the thing is that what I mean, it's great to go out, but when I see how people are on the trains, I couldn't get on a couple of trains because
too many people.
It was so crowded.
Right. Oh, well, I find that surprising because I've been on a train. Mind you, I didn't go during the rush hour. I'm not even sure that the rush hour exists anymore, does it? But I've been on trains every now and again, about once a week for as long as I can remember, and they're empty. Totally, utterly and completely empty. I got not only the entire carriage to myself, but the 2 carriages either side of the carriage that I'm sitting on, I've got to myself. The only other person on the train apart from me was a driver.
But I tell you what worried me is that people aren't wearing them. Quite a few people didn't have on masks, and I kept moving around to get away from them, to get away from people. And though there wasn't there were so many people, but a lot of them weren't wearing masks. And if those who had masks didn't have them on properly, they were halfway off the nose.
Right.
And what was really awful was that it seemed like everyone was a bit zombified. At one point, it seemed that people were like zombified, because I looked up and I suddenly realised all the windows, the ones that you can pull open, all of them were practically closed in the whole carriage.
Yeah, well, you don't want fresh air to get in.
No, but that's what I mean. And there were people, people weren't necessarily keeping...
I know,
but next to each other.
Morons, Jan.
Go around and open some of the windows.
Yeah, morons, Jan. We're surrounded by morons, and there's nothing we can do about it other than to not go out. But that's not really an option forever, is it? I mean, I don't mind not going out for the next couple of months, but when spring comes and, the flora and the fauna start peeking out, then I'm going to be out with everybody else. I don't care if I do die. Well, that's not necessarily true, but... Oh... How long is this going to go on for?
Barra.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys.
Hold the line. I'm trying to connect you.
Yeah, let me see who I'll try to connect at this very moment in time. It's another French caller from French France, Limoges, James.
Hi, Nick. I have actually phoned you before, way back, but you had a caller on earlier from Toulouse.
Yes.
And you asked him a question about how convenient it was to get a doctor's appointment.
Yeah, just as a point of order, this is another superb line from France. Are you talking to me on a mobile phone?
No, I'm actually on the landline.
On a landline?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it was just that I had an incident just before we had COVID, and I've got a history of heart problems, and I woke up one morning and I didn't feel right. And so I phoned my daughter up, who lives over here as well, and she gave me a number. She said, phone Claude up, a friend of hers who's a French ambulance driver. So I spoke to him, and he said, OK. He said, we'll come and take a look. And must have been about 5-10 minutes later, 2 ambulances rolled up outside.
2?
The guys rushed in. They brought all this equipment into my living room, and it was like a mobile cardiograph type thing.
Right.
Connected me up to it, and the printout came, and next thing, a doctor wandered through the door, and he tore off this paper, looked at it, and he looked at me, and he said, is there any way we can land a helicopter around here?
What?
And I thought, oh my God, I must be ill. I said, well, there's a field at the back. He said, OK, and he disappeared again. And I looked at these guys and I said, am I OK? And he said, well, he thinks you should be looked at the hospital. Next thing, the helicopter arrives. They took me out, put me in the helicopter, flew me to Limoges. I came out of the helicopter at Limoges on a stretcher, straight into the back of an ambulance. I thought I was at the main hospital, which I was. And then they took me south of Limoges to a specialist cardiac unit. Took me in there, tested me all day long, and about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a surgeon walked in and he said, you're fine. He said, you can go back home now.
All right. Did you get a trip back on the helicopter? No. Sadly not.
He says, get yourself a taxi.
Yeah, right. Well,
that's how efficient it is.
Yes.
I mean, it's not. That's just one crazy occasion, but it is like that all the time. It's terrific. I've just had operations on my eyes, and that went swimmingly. And they organised taxis for me to go to this clinic to have the cataracts removed each time, and absolutely brilliant.
You know, people are they do insist that the NHS is the envy of the world, and it just flat out isn't. It might be the envy of the third world, but not the first world. Not for people living in Europe. No.
Well, the only difference I've found to the NHS, and I had my first heart attack in the UK, and I was treated at Glenfield up near Leicester. Which was excellent, and had a stent put in, etc. They were marvellous. I can't fault the NHS; they were absolutely brilliant. But here, it's just as efficient, but you do have to pay an insurance premium.
Well, we have to pay that here too, James. People forget that the NHS isn't free. We pay for it an enormous amount. Through insurance, national insurance, by tax, and it's the same in France. It's just that they call it something else, and it comes out of your, I think your employer stumps up, and you stump up. It's a small amount. If you go to the doctor, it's like €10 or something of that order.
It's every time I go to the doctor, I pay him €25 for each visit, but that gets refunded back through my health care system.
Exactly. Yeah, you get the money back. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the good news, James, and I wish you all the best. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Interesting that Fishy Sunak was over in California talking to American health care providers. Very interesting. He actually missed a call with hospitality chiefs in this country, which is, his actual job, and because he was chit-chatting away to American private healthcare providers. Curious. I'm just saying it's curious, that's all. Curiouser and curiouser. Let's have York. Why not? Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm great, mate.
Good. Very good. Now then, it does seem silly, doesn't it, that if they are going to lock things down again, why wait?
Yeah, madness.
But aren't they doing the same thing in Wales? Aren't they shutting nightclubs after the 27th? So you can do what you like until then.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just so ridiculous because people are obsessed with having a nice Christmas, and it's never as good as people imagine that it's going to be. Like New Year's Eve is never the best night of the year, even though you desperately really want it to be. So what difference does it make?
I mean, it's just a day, isn't it?
It's just a day.
I think really we ought to get ahead of ourselves and cancel next year's Christmas.
Yes.
And then
yes.
Save all the trouble.
Exactly. And cancel our birthdays as well, because, we're bound to be bad at some point between now and then, so let's get the punishment in now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, it just seems so silly. But these politicians, they just don't want to disappoint us, do they?
Well, they don't mind disappointing us on certain things, but because people are obsessed with Christmas and to a ridiculous extent, really. I mean,
I think so.
They don't want to do anything over Christmas because people will react poorly to it, and that will reflect badly on them, and we might not vote for them next time round.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think people are too obsessed with Christmas, really. I mean, why? It's just a flipping day, isn't it?
It's just a flipping day. Correctamundo. Yeah. It's like Boris Johnson doesn't want to deflate our Yorkshire puddings, Jan.
Exactly. Well, don't talk to me about those.
Why not? Let's talk about Yorkshire pudding. What's the secret to a good Yorkshire pudding, Jan?
I wish I knew.
Buying it from a shop.
That's what I've done that's what I've done this year, yeah.
What? You're in York and you've bought a Yorkshire pudding from a shop?
I'm afraid so, because I did have a disaster last year.
A disaster?
Yeah.
A Yorkshire pudding-related disaster?
Yep.
How did that manifest itself?
Well, they were flat as pancakes.
Right. You could have just told people they're Christmas pancakes.
Well, no. They weren't. They were all sort of soggy as well, you know?
Oh, no.
Ugh, awful. So I'm not risking it this year. I've got bought them in.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You should just go the whole hog, Jan. Chuck all of that Christmas fare out and just have a pizza, like me.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good idea, that.
You could have a Yorkshire pudding pizza. What sounds better than that?
Exactly. Yeah. Right, think about that.
Yeah, think about it, and if you do it, take a picture of it and pop it in the post.
And
all
send
right?
it to you.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you something while I'm on?
Go on, then.
About your podcast, the Nick Abbott Habit.
Yes.
What's happened to last week's?
Isn't it there?
No.
What?
No, it's not there.
Wait a minute. Checking while you wait, Nick Abbott. Habit. Oh my God, you're right.
I know.
Huh. Well, that's a blooming liberty, because I did it and I sent it to the relevant authorities, and it's not on the blooming internet.
You will have to get your whip out.
Oh my God, it's worse than I thought. The last one was on the 6th, so that should have been. Well, there should have been 2 more.
No, just one, I think.
Well, the 6th, the 7th would be the 11th, and there was one on the. No, I think 2 more, isn't it?
No, 1.
6th and 7th. Well, 6 plus 7, like 7 days a week. So 6 plus
13.
7 is 12.
13.
Probably about 12.
13.
And what day of the week is it? Sunday. So it's the 21st today. So 13 plus 21 is 52. And I've just completely lost track of what it is I'm supposed to be figuring out. But thanks for the bad news there, Jan. I'm alarmed.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what to do about
Monday?
that. Now that all of those people have gone on holiday now, the last one has gone up, and that's that. But there is apparently, so I am assured by a different person who puts up the Me and Carol podcast, that we have sent him 2. We sent him one that's gone out on Monday, and another one that's going to come out this Monday, of the Me and Carol one. It's called "What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol." Have you heard that one?
Definitely, yeah.
Right. Well, I think you'll love the next one that's coming out on Monday, and then we'll come back after a couple of weeks off over Christmas and New Year with what I think is going to be our 99th and then our 100th episode. Reached a century. Can you believe it?
Yeah, marvellous. Yeah, that's my Monday treat, listening to those 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
But, of course, last week I was half disappointed.
Yes, half disappointed, which is not good enough.
No.
I will pass on your disappointment.
Thank you.
Thanks for alerting me to that, Jan. Very, very bad news. And if you've been waiting for it, then I apologise.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
But it wasn't me. I did it. And it's not an inconsiderable amount of time either. I assume that when I send it off for somebody to squirt up the internet, that it gets done. Well, I am distraught. I'm half upset. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk and put all complaints on a postcard and send to the following address.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Well, I just heard the good news. That nice lady that I was just talking to, she will be beside herself. Delighted she'll be, because my glamorous assistant through the glass there said that he will, for this one moment only, assist us in this regard. So I'm going to send the podcast to him, and then he will stick it up the internet. So there you are, you see, holding out for a hero. And we found one. It's a miracle. So he'll do that just as soon as I get it to him, so probably tomorrow. Something like that. Basingstoke. Hello, Daniel.
Hello there, how are you?
Hello there. Great, thanks.
I'm rather perplexed and frustrated with the exception of being LBC, the British media, that seem to have omitted the thousands of people that have marched through London, Leeds, Manchester, Belfast, Liverpool, around the seemingly destruction of democracy with this mandatory vaccine nonsense that's now come out for NHS workers and the near effect of a
somewhat in between that and mandatory for the general public.
Well, it's not actually mandatory for the general public. I mean, other countries are insisting.
Go out to a nightclub, go to a football stadium. In effect, it's restricted and removed your civil liberties and your freedoms. Therefore, democracy died in the House of Commons that night.
The democracy is dying, but in a much more serious way than having to get a vaccine and put a mask on your face. I mean, there's a more serious threat to democracy than that, Daniel.
What's that?
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. But people are so easily distracted. There's a threat to the democracy of this country that is going through Parliament at the moment. It's called the Police and Punishment Bill, or something like that. It's not quite the right title.
You're very right.
While you're obsessing about putting a piece of paper on your face, a much more serious thing is being snuck through.
I agree, you are correct, our government is doing that, but that is the fact that the media, with it seems on a regular basis, the exception of LBC, don't want to highlight what is going on or being paid off or told to look the other way. The media aren't talking about it and alerting the British public. I agree entirely, and that's because the media is almost all bought and paid for by the offshore billionaire media-owning class who also happen to be great supporters of the Conservative Party. With the exception of the wonderful BBC, who's supposedly funded by us, the taxpayer.
Well, not supposedly. They are.
Well, the point is, it's currently funded by the taxpayer. However, should the government decide that, the licence fee's no longer needed if they don't play ball, you've managed to control the whole media. The bit that frustrates me most at the moment is the hysteria that isn't backed up by data around the current variant of COVID. So we've all gone mental about this current variant, which is more potent and spreads a lot quicker.
Well, we don't know it's more potent. It spreads quicker, yeah.
It so far doesn't seem to come to the point where it doesn't relate into hospital admissions. So you look at the argument of hospital admissions exactly a year on from today, it's 50% less.
Yeah, I know, but if we can get into numbers about this, but it's too soon to be able to tell. But as I was mentioning earlier on, the experience of South Africa is they're a couple of weeks ahead of us, and they appear to be sort of through it and out the other side.
Well, this is the point. This is the question of there's even the doctor who discovered it was on. She came on a Skype call on a.
Yeah, I know.
Online,
I saw that too. Yeah. And she was saying, "Stop freaking out." Exactly.
It's frustrating. I don't understand why the government's gone so nuclear, and we're now saying get another vaccine. But the main question here is we were all...
Well, you can say get another vaccine, but most of the people that have died with it in South Africa, most of the people who are hospitalised with this new variant in South Africa are people that haven't had the vaccine. So, you could say it's just a coincidence or that one might lead to the other. But anyway, Daniel, this is really not the kind of show for this. You have taken over for a good long while here, and that's not really the direction in which this show travels. Call me tomorrow, or rather later tonight, and we'll chit-chat away to you to your heart's content. Coming here and trying to take over this show. Can you believe that? Robbie texts, if Boris is found guilty of breaking the COVID laws with his parties last year, will Priti Patel deport him back to the USA, where he was born, as they have done with other people this year? Ryan says, if they used to give if they used to give people £250 for every clip used in You've Been Framed, I'm wondering how much you think people are charging for all the leaked footage of the government's special edition. Bruce says, as they now need a new Brexit negotiator and someone independent and trustworthy to investigate the shenanigans last Christmas, there is only one suitable candidate currently out of work, Prince Andrew. 0345 6060 973. Whatever happened to Prince Andrew, by the way? Dulwich. Hello, Ashley.
What are you doing, dude? You nearly had me in a serious conversation with an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
What's going on to your show? What are we doing tonight?
I don't know. I lost my way there for a moment.
You got involved. He sucked you in. Come on. Stick to the script.
That's right. Yes.
What was I going to say? Lord Frost.
Yeah.
How funny is this? The guy messed up his own deal we all know he messed up his own deal. He kind of complained about the deal that he signed. And under the cover of another scandal, catastrophe, he says, OK, no, hang on a minute. I don't agree with what have I got. Net zero, net free carbon. Yeah. That's what I'm going to go with.
Exactly right. Yeah. Anybody believing that?
No.
Not really. No.
Exactly. Because this dude is famous for his anti-carbon approach or pro-carbon approach or whatever the angle is. I find it brilliant that the rats are leaving the ship at the minute. And I think that the hilarity of it really lies in the fact that the right often end up eating themselves when they get too cocky.
Well, I don't know. I think that's the left's speciality, that they end up fighting each other. They fight themselves down to the ground, and the right wing step neatly over them and assume power.
No, I agree with that. But when the right get like the 80-seat majority, and all you've heard is the people believe that this is a Westminster bubble story, and they keep saying it.
This is not what the people want to talk about.
The people don't care, and it's a trivial thing that there's parties in Downing Street. But when the right get this cocky, they always sod it up. They always mess it up big time, and I find it hilarious. And we're starting to see that even this guy, Frosty, the snowman, the go man, as someone said earlier, even he thought, do you know what? Now's the time to exit stage left. I'm out.
I don't know what we're going to do without him. Like I said at the beginning of the show, how will we cope without all of his, all of the qualities that he has brought to the Brexit negotiations? Like, I've completely drawn a blank. Thanks a lot, Ashley. Here's the statistic that I've read out a couple of times. Overall, and this is in the Express newspaper. They report that the Brexit trade deal that we've got, that we are suffering through at the moment, is only approved by 12% of the population. 12%. 12. Even people who are Brexit evangelists, only 22% of them support the Brexit that we have been delivered. 22%. 12% overall say that Britain has got a good deal from leaving the European Union. Excellent work there, Bodge. You're doing a tremendous job. You keep it up.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
0345 6060 973. Kevin says, I think he has left the post because he has earned enough money. He's not surely getting paid for that, is he? He's not getting paid for that, surely. Can we have our money back, mister?
No.
Apparently not. Let's have a call in Queen's Park. Hello, Michael.
Hi, this is me. Am I on?
It sounds like you.
Okay, it's Queen's Park. The reason why I called in is you've got your COVID death stats wrong.
What?
Your COVID death stats. Let's deal with Sweden. You can't compare Sweden with Belgium. Sweden has a population density of about 25 per square kilometre, and Belgium's about 350.
Michael, are you getting to that figure by dividing the number of square miles or whatever measurement you wish?
No, I'm looking it up. I just looked it up.
Yeah, but no, are you getting to that figure? Is that figure arrived at by dividing the square miles in the country with the number of people in that country?
Probably.
Yes. So, and can you see the flaw in that thinking?
Well, let's get to comparing Sweden with Norway then.
No. It doesn't really matter where you compare them to. If you are coming to the a number of the I can't remember what the phrase you used there is. What's the phrase you used?
Norway compared with Sweden.
Yeah, but what's the figure?
Of what? Norway.
Population density. That's right, population density. If you're getting to the number of population density by just dividing the space in the country by the number of people, then the flaw in that argument is obviously that people don't live in fields. they don't distribute evenly throughout the country. People in Sweden live in towns just as much as we do here and everywhere else in the world. People don't just live on their own up mountains and in fjords and on lakes. They're all squeezed together in Sweden just like they are here. I mean, the population density in this country is, like Birmingham, is exactly the same as, like Stockholm, for instance. It's the same. It's the same everywhere. Everywhere lives on top of each other. Just because Sweden's got a large space doesn't mean to say that people have a lot of space around them. They're living in tiny little flats on top of each other, just like we are, Michael.
It's the same thing 20 times. Can we move on?
Well, unless you're going to just repeat your assertion that you can't compare one country to the other.
I'm going to compare Sweden and Norway then.
Well, what difference does it make?
Well, Norway should have, going by Sweden, they should have had about 7,500 deaths.
No, let's compare Sweden. Let's compare Sweden to us. An echoing silence.
Let's compare us to Taiwan.
Even worse.
Well, Taiwan's at 805 deaths.
Yeah, exactly. And they had a contact tracing system that they spent about threepence halfpenny on and worked on the second day. Meanwhile, here... Contact tracing. Here, the dear leader still can't even say it. But what's your point, though, Michael?
The point is that I really think that Sweden got it completely wrong.
Well, they got it better than we did. Their results are better than ours. Their results are better than Belgium's. So they didn't get it completely wrong, unless we got it completely wrong.
I think the UK got it completely wrong because they started much too late. The scientists knew, because I know someone who started working on the AstraZeneca vaccine on the 12th of January 2020 as government employee.
Okay. We can go back over all of that, and there were mistakes made by everybody on Earth. But so who got it right then? I mean, I don't really see what your point is. What is your point?
Okay, my point is that Sweden didn't get it right.
No, well, who did then? Taiwan. Right. Well, Taiwan is an unusual case because the people who live there are used to wearing masks anyway. I mean, you know, in that area of the map, it's just the done thing. If you've got a cold, you wear a mask in order to protect other people, not yourself, other people. So we should all be Taiwan. Okay, that's very helpful, Michael. I'll keep that in mind. If we ever find a time machine. 0345 6060 973. It's 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
Anthony texts, the Chancellor of the Exchequer didn't need to go to the USA with a commercial airline. He probably used that aeroplane that Johnson paid £900,000 to get painted in a big Union flag as Marcus Rashford was fighting to feed hungry children. £900,000 for a paint job? Or did he get that fancy wallpaper and cover the plane with that? Paul says Frosty the Snowman is surely resigning because he's losing the EU negotiations. He does actually look like a snowman. He looks like somebody who's like halfway through melting, doesn't he? A certain waxiness. I've never seen anybody who looks quite like him. It's just bizarre. What's he made of? Anyway, Paul says Frosty the Snowman is surely resigning because he's losing the EU negotiations. Fishing licences requested by the EU have now been issued and the European Court will now be the final arbiter on disputes. Yeah, that's right. He's losing. And he's an expert negotiator. What will we do without him? 0345 6060 973. Cheam. Hello, Laurie.
Good evening, Nick. Good evening to you. I just want to point out a couple of things. I've just actually restored my sort of faith in humanity. I don't know if it's me. It probably is. I work on the railways, and I can certainly understand the whole thing about the masks thing and what I see not happening. But these two things I've just got to point out, which are just hilarious. First of all, is the Daily Express headline: "Down but not out. Why we must put faith in Boris."
Yeah,
sort of,
right.
A bit ironic from today, really, isn't it?
Yes.
But today I was speaking to a passenger, came up to me, and she'd cut a hole in the front of her mask. And I said to her, would you like another mask? And she said, no, I like this one because it helps me breathe.
Oh, my God.
So I just thought, I'll put that out there, just for the benefit of our listeners. This is the first time I've listened to LBC. I absolutely love it now. But I just had to share that with you, Nick.
Well, thanks for sharing, Laurie. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Take care now.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. 0345 6060 973. It helps her to breathe.
Oh, fabulous.
Morons. We're surrounded by morons. Altex, bad though Corbyn would have been, I still voted for him rather than Bodger as the least bad option. Corbyn would have been usurped quite soon, and at least he had decent alternatives in his team. There are no decent candidates for the PM in the Tory party now, since the likes of Dominic Grieve and Rory Stewart were handed out. Yeah, I think people speak too fondly about Rory Stewart. I mean, he may say sensible things, but just look at... there's a website called They Work For You, and a couple of clicks away is the voting record of everybody in Parliament. You can see what they voted on, how they voted on the various issues. And to my eyes, they're all a bloomin' same. I did actually look it up. I did homework, if you can believe that. I will find it for you, if absolutely necessary. It's not coming to hand immediately, but it will. Don't you worry about that. Oh, there we go. Okay, name a potential to take over at random. Go ahead, I double dare you. Rishi Sunak. He seems like a nice man, don't he?
No.
Consistently voted against paying higher benefits over longer periods for those unable to work due to illness or disability. Well, we wouldn't want to help them, would we? Voted against a more proportional system for electing MPs. Yeah, I bet he did. Consistently voted for a reduction in spending on welfare benefits. Voted against removing hereditary peers from the House of Lords. Well, they always want to join that club, don't they? They're not going to extinguish the possibility of being in the world's best club for the rest of their lives. Consistently voted for reducing central government funding of local government, which is a particular Conservative Party thing. They drain the money out of the local councils and then blame the local councils for not being able to provide the services that people need. Generally voted against laws to promote equality and human rights. Well, why would humans need rights? Almost always voted against measures to prevent climate change. Consistently voted against higher taxes on banks. He being a banker. No! Of course. Consistently voted for reducing capital gains tax, which is where the rich make their money. You don't become a billionaire by getting paid. It's assets. Consistently voted for a reduction in spending on welfare benefits. Consistently voted against paying higher benefits over longer periods for those unable to work due to illness or disability. I'm pretty sure I've already mentioned that. And if you look at each one of the options to replace Bodge, they're all the blooming same. They all vote against an increase in welfare benefits. They all vote against raising welfare benefits, at least in line with inflation. It's basically taking money from the poor and giving it to the rich. And they all, almost every single one of them, are exactly the same. So if you're expecting a change in direction, if there's a change in leader, well, I've got bad news for you. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. It's even worse than that because if you...
if you look at Bridgen, Francois, Baker, Owen Patterson, etc., Edward Lee, all the rest of them, their voting records are all identical. They're the same as the potentials. The whole bunch of them are the same.
As though automatons.
Affirmative.
Yeah, like robots they are.
Correct.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, you were talking about that WhatsApp thing that Sam Kurtz put on the internet earlier on. I thought it was quite sinister, to be honest, because we've got the Borders and Nationalities Bill going through where we can just de-citizen people.
Yeah.
And there was Steve Baker just happily cancelled Nadine Dorries and then got complimented by Bridgen for doing it. And
yeah, it's scary.
It's quite frightening.
It is interesting that those people who yell about freedom of speech the most are those most keen to cancel everybody that they disagree with.
Absolutely. It really did. It quite bothered me. It sent a shiver down my spine when I saw him do that. I thought, yeah, you're putting the legislation through to do that to anybody you want to now. Mm-hmm. It's not good. But last little thing, Frosty. You said you can't think of anyone who looks like him. Well, there is one person that he reminds me of.
No, don't tell me. The Michelin Man.
No. Digby Jones, the man who said that the German motor car industry would come over the horizon like the cavalry.
Oh, right. Yeah, the BMW and Mercedes, they're going to insist on the European Union giving us a good deal because they want to sell their cars here. Yeah, right.
And he is a Michelin man, but he's got that same pasty look about him.
Yeah, what is that? Pastiness. That's, he needs to go outside. Get a bit of sun on you, Lord. Oh, no, can't. So you just melt. Melt in the sun, probably.
But Bojo could do kill two birds with one stone. He could ennoble Farage and appoint him as our EU negotiator.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that Nigel Farage is fit to run this country.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
Not even in government. Never mind about running this country.
Cheers, Nick.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. How's Brexit going, by the way?
Brexit's going great.
Glad to hear it. Natalie emails, another self-serving mediocrity exits stage right. Had to give Frosty credit for throwing Johnson under the bus before Bodger had the chance to do the same to him. Yeah, that's about right. And I totally believe that his resignation was based on ideological differences and absolutely nothing to do with the Brexit agreement rules due to come into effect on January next year. Just a couple of weeks away. If you think it's bad now, just wait. Yeah, sure, but he resigned because he's very concerned about the cost of going to net zero. Yeah, because that's what concerns him, day and night. What's that got to do with him? Has zero to do with his job. Oh, he's concerned about the vaccines. Yeah, that's why he left. Yeah, sure. Germany, Cologne. Hello, Scott.
Nick, it's the first time I've spoken to you in 20 years. So
wow.
I'm really chuffed to be able to speak to you again. Look, can we stop blaming the politicians? Because they are the ones who say beforehand what they're going to do, and then they get elected by the so-called great British public, and they end up doing it. I mean, Farage is the greatest example. I mean, look, the guy's an absolute fool, but he was put there to do a job by the people who, elected him. And, when we watched him on YouTube all the time giving these terrible speeches in the European Parliament, which was embarrassing to the whole of us, especially the Brits living in Europe. I mean, the fact is, he was put there and he said the same things before he got elected.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And we stop talking about politicians. They say, they're monsters.
Yeah.
The people know what they're like before they vote them.
Right, we're the stupid idiots that are responsible.
Exactly. There's a problem with the country. Look, I live in a country where we've basically just voted the Greens in. There's a coalition government in Germany, and the Greens are up there now. Now, that's quite a healthy country. There is a far-right movement here in Germany.
Yeah. Well, there's a far-right movement everywhere. I mean, every country on Earth, you'll find a far-right movement if you look hard enough.
But look, the Tories, like North Shropshire just now, that's a miracle. Because they've been in for 200 years.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. They've never had anything other than a Conservative representative.
But we've really got to step back from this. Oh, my goodness, these Tories are monsters. They're terrible. No, they're voted in because people know what they're like.
Right. Yes, it's a people problem. It's not their fault. It's our fault for putting them in that position in the first place.
It is. So let's just accept that this is what we are. We're not nice people.
No.
I mean, look at the way the whole country has reacted about this poor boy in Birmingham and this poor girl in Bradford.
Right. Well, now okay. Well, of course we are. Yeah, but now you're really bringing us down.
No, but hold on. We're disgusted by that, but yet we can have kids drowning in the English Channel.
Oh, well, we don't mind about that because...
no, we don't mind.
They speak with a funny accent, probably not... and some of them might not speak English. I bet some of them don't come from here. Yeah, so forget about them. Push them back out to sea, let them drown. Yeah. All right, thanks for the bad news, Scott. I can't take it anymore. But he's right. And it's not just us, it's... I think it's the species.
It can only be attributable to human error.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late!
Shona texts in relation to the possibility that we might be under restrictions in the new year, which will mean that we won't be able to eat inside. We'll be restricted to eating outside. There is a small problem with it being winter and all. Shona texts, outdoor service only. Have they seen the likelihood of severe cold and snow from Christmas onwards? We won't want to go out due to the big freeze while Johnson beaches himself in the Caribbean. Well, like a whale, you mean? Nick says, not that I want it, but I'm going to get it. Can I choose the Omnicom variety, please? Maybe if we all get that variety, we can avoid Bodger's next lockdown. I think we're all going to get it whether we want it or not. I mean, if it is as transmissible as they say, then it's kind of surprising we haven't all got it already. Just in case they shut everything down and we weren't going to be able to get a haircut, I decided, to hell with it. I'm going to go and get my haircut on Thursday. Yes, a couple of days ago. And I thought, this is a really stupid idea because the person that cuts hair is going to have his face next to other people's faces all day long, day after day after day. So if anybody's going to have it and be able to pass it on, it's going to be the barber. But I was about a month overdue for a haircut anyway, and I thought, if they do lock us down again, and it's going to be like another month, 2 months, 3 months, something like that, I'm going to look like Catweasel. No, Nick, you won't look like Catweasel. Why do you beat yourself up like that? Going to get a bit of help here, please. So I thought, to hell with it. I'm just going to go and do it and suffer the consequences. And I may have a long incubation period, I don't know, but so far nothing. So far nothing. But I did sort of shallow breathe throughout. I thought that will work. I'll just hold my breath for half an hour. Problem solved. And he did try to engage me in conversation because it must be so boring cutting people's hair all day long. It's like, where, do you live around here? Where are you going on holiday? Well, no one's going on holiday anymore. But he did try to engage me in conversation just to pass the time. But I didn't, I was sullenly monosyllabic. Well, you try it. You try that. Sullenly monosyllabic.
Sullenly monosyllabic?
Smart aleck. Why, I oughta. Yeah, sullenly monosyllabic I was. So he asked me a few questions and I'm like, yeah. He got the message eventually. I just didn't want to have a conversation with people, be under like a hail of his spit. I didn't want that. So yeah, I did start with my mask on, But you can't really cut someone's hair with their mask on because it's the thing that goes over the ears and it, it gets caught on the comb. So I was a brave little soldier. I was. I just didn't want the idea of not having to get my hair cut for like 3 or 4 months. Again, like last time, where I almost decided to cut my hair myself. God, that would have been a catastrophe. Can you imagine? Let's have... oops, what have I done? Oh, no. What have I done? There you go. Selby. Hello, Paul.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Paul.
I did actually cut my hair a few months ago.
How did that work out?
Well, not very well, really.
Not very well, no.
No, it was quite short at the end of it, and luckily someone came round and tidied it up because I used a beard trimmer to do it.
That's probably not the right thing to do, is it?
No, so I ended up with a really sort of like, I guess, number 1 or something like that.
Oh, right. Now, is that the first time you've ever had a hair that short?
No, once before there was a mistake when I lived in Spain.
An error.
And I had my head shaved. Right. That's another story, really.
And were you alarmed at the shape of your head?
When?
When you had it really cut really short?
Well, the first time in Spain, my parents walked straight past me in the street after it had been done.
Right.
And nobody recognised me.
Yeah.
And it just was a sort of language problem with this Spanish hairdresser that came round to cut my hair, and she didn't. I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but I ended up looking like a Australian convict, and my own parents didn't recognise me. You know. So yes.
But when you saw the shape of your skull, were you alarmed, or you think, hey, that's a bit of Bruce Willis going on here?
Well, that's funny you should say that. Actually, in my sort of deepest kind of coma time, I was actually compared to Bruce Willis.
Right.
But after God knows why, because I'm better looking than him.
Of course you are. Yeah. Were you wearing a vest at the time?
I was probably wearing something like that because it was Spain and it was hot, you know. But no, apart from that drastic haircut, I normally sort of a bit of an old hippie, really, you know.
Right. Well, on behalf of British people, I'd like to apologise to the Spanish for the shaven-headed men in vests who clog up their beaches. Of course, not lately, but, ordinarily. I apologise on behalf of them.
I'm very sorry that I screwed up.
Very sorry that we screwed up.
But the thing is, Nick, most of the people that are there, I was living in the Benidorm area, and most of the men you're talking about, the British men, look exactly
like that. Yeah, exactly right.
Yes,
that's what I'm apologising for. We're very, very sorry. We're sending you all of our worst people.
Yeah, including me.
Yeah. So anyway,
but the reason I phoned up, actually, well, loads of reasons. I bought some load of vinyl today, vinyl records.
Oh yeah, what'd you get?
80s stuff for my sister.
80s?
Yeah.
The 1980s?
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh, the worst decade.
It wasn't.
What'd you get?
Got, Duran.
Oh my God!
Howard
It just got.
Jones.
Oh
Thompson
no!
Twin.
Oh, you have to stop speaking, Paul.
Ultravox. Now then, hang on. Ultravox.
Painful.
And that's about it, really.
Well, that's too much. That is too. You want to crush those records up immediately and throw them away.
I'm giving it to my sister, mate. I don't even have a record player.
You're giving them away. Excellent choice, Paul.
Yeah.
I would have bought them and thrown them away.
Well, the thing is, there is one in there which is the all original not Cliff Richard, Little Richard, and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, well, there you go.
Rock and roll!
You've been you're saved by the bell. All right, rock and roll. Thanks a lot, Paul. Shall I do one more? Or is that tempting fate? What do you reckon?
I've never been much of a gambler.
Right, see, now I'm alarmed. Now it's a gamble? Oh, all right then. Let's see how this goes. Fulham. Hello, Phil.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Mate, listen, do you remember when we was kids, yeah? And our parents used to have chicken pox parties?
No.
Well, have you ever heard of chicken pox parties before?
Oh, chicken pox. I thought you said chicken box parties, and I thought, what's that? Chicken pox, yes.
Yeah.
Chicken pox parties, right.
Yeah, mate. So do you know why our mums told us that we need to do that? Because our mums knew that when we get chicken pox as kids, we'd have natural immunity for life, innit?
Right.
Okay, and the same has always worked for measles, mumps, chicken pox, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum used to do that when I was a kid, and she made sure that I caught all of that gear.
Yeah.
And look, measles, mumps, chicken pox, all of these viruses have been mutating just as fast as the COVID virus.
Are you an expert in virology?
No.
No? Oh, my God. Well, can you take a course and call us back? Whew. Thanks a lot, Phil. Thanks for your input. There's so many texts and tweets and emails. I'll just never get through them. I've got 1 minute left. I'll dive in. I'll read the short ones. Edward texts, if the PM leaves number 10, you could get him a job on LBC as your new glamorous assistant. What do you reckon, Bodge? He's thinking about it. James says, can we expect a Christmas stunt from Bodger, perhaps dropping 50 quid notes onto homeless people on the streets, as opposed to burning them in front of them as part of his Bullingdon Club initiation? Bridget says, in the UK, the water companies dump sewage into rivers. It's a great way to further the multiplication of the virus. Sewage?
Disgusting.
Al says, the money spent on the pirate track and trace app could literally have replaced the majority of the Royal Navy. That's actually probably true. £56 billion. Where did that go, by the way? Anybody any idea? Yeah, we're looking into it. I'm going to be back tonight at 10 o'clock, and if you have missed any part of this super show, then don't forget that it does get squirted up the internet as a podcast almost as soon as it's finished. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. Nick Abbott, The Whole Show. In the meantime, Ian Payne will delight you at 4 o'clock, but right now it's Clive Bull.
Nick, thank you. And as you've been hearing, Brexit Minister Lord Frost has quit the Cabinet, citing disagreements with the government's direction. 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 The government's direction, the government's direction, the government's direction,